With USC and UCLA both sliding going into their rivalry game, we're going to pause and find out where they stand in terms of the bowl season. Tyron Lue boosts James Harden while the Clippers keep sliding. And we have a Stetson Bennett sighting. Only it wasn't with the Rams. Yikes. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. So once again, it is super early out in Salt Lake City. It is November 13th, 2023. I'm heading home. We are going to find happiness in life one way or another. And one way to do it is to talk LA sports. So if you like being in the know about LA, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment, because it is always good to talk LA. Now, before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. Justin Herbert had a lovely day in most ways. He passed for 323 yards, also threw for 4 touchdowns. And the Chargers still allowed more points anyway. 41-38. They lose to the Detroit Lions. The Chargers again slide below 500. Now you might be saying to yourself, gee, James, if Herbert did all that, how the hell did that happen? Well, for the second time this year, the Chargers allowed more than 500 total yards in a game. So that's not helpful. And by the way, the one thing we know the Chargers defense can do, sack quarterbacks, they got Jared Goff not one time. So that was not helpful at all. Meanwhile, even though LeBron James was out with a calf bruise, Anthony Davis scores 30 points, 6 Lakers go in double figures, Lakers 116, Portland 110. And Memphis defeated the Clippers earlier at Crypto.com Arena. Memphis 105, Clippers 101. The Clippers are 0-4 with James Harden on the court. Paul George led the way with 26 points. Let's start off, though, with college football. Because I would probably suggest that a lot of fans of both USC and UCLA are kind of looking at this Victory Bell game with a pretty much a minimum amount of excitement. Wouldn't you say? I mean, preseason, everybody had excitement, right? I mean, USC got off to that big roll at the beginning, UCLA's defense, and we got this exciting freshman quarterback in Dante Moore, and now look at both teams. We got to be real. Neither team is ranked. But what I can tell you is that while it will probably change after the Victory Bell game this Saturday, both UCLA and USC should make the bowl season. They're both bowl eligible, right? So I took a look at some of these so-called bowl projection experts. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. These are not exactly great bowls. We're not talking New Year's Six here. But there will be a place to try to win a postseason game and try and get some momentum for recruiting in the offseason. For USC, for example, we have 3 of these projection people saying that the Trojans are going to go to the Las Vegas Bowl at Allegiant Stadium on December 23rd. Of course, at this moment, that's where they project. CBS Sports thinks that USC is going to play Illinois. ESPN thinks it's either going to be Nebraska or Wisconsin. There is one other alleged bowl projection expert from 24/7 Sports who thinks USC is going to go to the Holiday Bowl, where they will play Clemson. Obviously, the Tigers want a national power as well. CBS Sports, for the most part, they have the Bruins more or less locked into the Los Angeles Bowl, which previously was called the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, and now Rob Gronkowski is douching it up out at SoFi Stadium, trying to make this game sound more exciting than it actually is. We do know that CBS has them playing UNLV, and meantime, everybody else is thinking that UCLA is going to wind up playing Air Force. Now, I'm not going to front. UCLA's setting is not exactly the most palatable. And for that matter, if you're at USC, you are profoundly disappointed, seeing as how you were thinking, okay, we've got the defending Heisman Trophy winner, we've got this amazing offense, we know our defense is probably going to be terrible, and look what happened. Look what happened. Matter of fact, I got a couple of little factoids about USC football that might make you a little more upset if you're a Trojans fan. For example, since Lincoln Riley started his career at USC, he started off 11-1. Since then, 7-6. In other words, from unstoppable to, frankly, mediocre. And also, by the way, we've been talking about the defense. Here's an individual stat that might make your blood run cold. Linebacker Mason Cobb in Oregon on Saturday missed 5 tackles. He is tied for the lead in the nation for the most missed tackles with 24. We deal with reality here at Faithful Angelenos. Meanwhile, Chip Kelly faced the press and he told the LA Times that losing to Arizona State on Saturday is, quote, on us as coaches. We didn't do a good enough job to prepare those guys to play this football game, unquote. But it kind of begs the question, did the fans boo the players or the coaches at the end of the game? What do you believe? Because the LA Times pressed Kelly by asking if the offense, remember, Kelly is an offensive guru, if the offense became too predictable, particularly in running the ball up the middle 3 times on 4th down calls. He agreed. He actually agreed that he got too predictable. But then he added, quote, there's also a school of thought that we got to be able to gain 1 yard, unquote. Now, I don't really have much of a problem with that. You're like, wait a second, we should be able to gain 1 yard. But here's the deal. You were on your 3rd string quarterback to start the game. You wound up going to the 4th string. You still wound up losing to an Arizona State team. It was their 2nd win of the year. And oh, by the way, they were starting their 3rd string quarterback. In other words, Arizona State's 3rd string quarterback better than UCLA's. Kelly, by the way, in 6 years as UCLA's football coach is 33-33. 33-33. And so obviously the Times is like, can Kelly last? Is the Victory Bell game against USC a job-saving game? I don't know. And there's a reason I don't know. We talked about this at length through the course of the season. Chip Kelly, if he gets fired, would get a severance check of $8.5 million. UCLA's athletic department is in tens of millions in debt. Can they really afford to fire a guy, cut him a fat golden parachute check, and then cut an even fatter check for the next coach coming in? Can they? I don't know. Tyron Lue told the Clippers beat scribes that James Harden is, quote, doing too much to try to fit in. We had a meeting yesterday, and we said that he needs to be James Harden. We have to allow him to be himself. We're going to play through James, unquote. And then they went and lost to Memphis, the Memphis Grizzlies. The Grizzlies, who did qualify for the playoffs last year, true, but have 2 wins now this year, thanks to beating the Clippers in LA. And so the scribes, they go back to Lue and they're asking, what's up? How the hell did that happen? If there's any game that you should be winning, it should be against a Grizzlies team that had only 1 win. To which Lue replied about James Harden, quote, he's being too polite. Polite? Polite. James Harden, the guy who went out last week or so and told us, I am the system, is too polite. That's polite? Claiming that that's being humble and polite? Oh, I am the system? What do you want him to be? The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse or something? I mean, way more than that. Claiming to be the system, was that too humble? What should he have said? I'm not only the system, I'm the Alpha and the Omega. I am the beginning and the end, and I will give unto him that is thirsty twice the number of 30 points. No, I don't think the problem with the Clippers is that James Harden is too polite. I don't think I have to be a columnist in a newspaper telling you where to put the soup spoon and the salad fork to tell you about polite society. I don't think James Harden is that polite. Stetson Bennett was sighted watching Georgia play football on Saturday, and the press treated it as if it were Lazarus rising from the grave, rising from the crypt. Now, he was out in Georgia because he was there to receive something called the Burlsworth Trophy. That is like the Heisman Trophy for walk-on players, right? You walk on, you wind up making the team, and you're the best player out of all the walk-ons. If you recall, though, Sean McVay asked the press not to pry in Stetson Bennett's situation, right? Which really gave you the idea that it was something profoundly dark and personal. And I'm kind of amazed that the scribes didn't go after it. But what we can do, we don't want to speculate about why he's out, but we can deduce process of elimination. What do I mean by that? Well, for one, he didn't limp. So he's probably not out because he's injured. Number two, I didn't see an ankle monitor. He wasn't accompanied by the cops. So I presume he did not commit a felony that would have gotten him suspended from the NFL. So at least we can take those two reasons off the why isn't Stetson Bennett practicing with the Rams vibe. Not that that's particularly helpful, but there's that. Dodgers general manager Brandon Gomes said that they would not push Dustin May to pitch at all next season since he is recovering from a second Tommy John surgery. If he's good enough, yeah, they'll let him pitch, but they're not going to sit there and stress over it. Gomes also told the LA Times that Walker Buehler is expected to be ready to go for his part in in spring training, the regular season. Now, Buehler went on some talk show that I've never heard of, and he said that he wished he could have pitched for the shorthanded Dodgers during the offseason. Quote, "This is 2 years in a row I've sat and watched the playoffs happen, and it stinks. The standard is kind of set in LA that we're going to be there every year, and I'm looking forward to getting back out there next year," unquote. So, with any luck, you might actually have Walker Buehler in a playoff rotation next year. We'll have to see what the Dodgers do for the rest of the Hot Stove League in order to find out if they're still good enough to qualify in the first place. I think they will, but maybe you'll have Walker Buehler going out there instead of Lance Lynn. Fingers crossed. Former Kings goalie Roman Cechmanek has died at the age of 52. He played 4 seasons in the NHL, 3 with Philly, his last season out in LA, out in 2004. Cause of death not released. Also, the Kings have demoted Alex Laferriere. He was sent to Ontario on Sunday. He only scored twice in 14 games for the Kings. So not exactly the type of guy where, well, let's be real. You got to produce to be with the Kings. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me about the state of USC or UCLA football. Let me know if you think James Harden is still the system. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.